Okay guys, I wanted to do an updated video with sound on using motion tweens. So first thing you want to do is find the motion tween exercise assignment. The dates might be different, but the title should stay the same. You want to scroll all the way to the bottom and download one of these minimum. You can download all of them. If you wanted to, what I've done in the past is whatever you're feeling today, this morning, this afternoon, pick that one. So I'm going to pick this one here, and you want to drag it over to your USB from your downloads. Oops, let me open that. Okay. If your download should by default be next to your trash, so you just have to click once and then drag and drop it to your USB, or you can always right click on your Finder and then find your downloads there and then open it in a different window if you accidentally deleted it from here. But alright, so we have one of these saved now, and I'll show you some examples that I'm looking for done in the previous years. This one's pretty advanced, but this one might be a little bit easier to do. But okay, so now we have that downloaded. We go to animate, you hit new file. I'm just going to do the standard. Since we are using tweens, you can leave this at 24 frames since it's going to do most of it for us, and you're going to hit create. Alright, so first things first, I'm going to import the AI file I just downloaded. So I'm going to go to File, Import, Import to Stage, and find that little emoji. All of this you don't have to touch, you just click on import. And then we have our emoji here. So unlike classic tweens, you don't need a start and an end frame for a motion tween, you just need your first keyframe. So move this emoji wherever you want it to be, or wherever you want it to start off. Then you're going to right click on your first keyframe, and you're going to select Create Motion Tween. You can hit Don't Show again so this doesn't pop up. This just telling you that it needs to be converted into a symbol. You're going to hit OK so that Animate does it for you. Alright, so you'll see your timeline. It adds frames for you, and it's highlighted in yellow. Classic tweens was in purple, motion tweens yellow. Okay, so once you've seen some of the motion tween added here, you're going to grab your playhead and just move it along the timeline. I'm going to do frame 5, and now I'm going to move my emoji to a different location. And you see that it drops a keyframe for you automatically when you start moving it. And you'll see this path popping up. I'm going to go to frame 10 now, and then I'm going to make it move up. Drop the keyframe. I'm going to go to frame 15, make it move down. Frame 20, maybe I'll make it hit this corner here. Say you want this to keep going because you should have a lot of movement coming on. I'm going to go to frame 30, and I'm just going to hit F6, and it's going to keep the motion tween intact. So now I'm going to move it down here. Okay, and you can play this back to see what that looks like. Now, these right here stand for like the key poses and the timing, and I'll show you how to adjust that. But before we do that, make sure you move your playhead to frame 1, and if you hover over the path, you will actually see the little bend tool appear, and you can click and make these move in an arc instead of these weird shapes here where it's just very straightforward. Do you have to do this? No, but you can. And you can also come and grab some of these points with the selection tool to move them around if you wanted to. So the path is still customizable even after you move the little dude around. Okay, so, and I can always come in here and adjust this. Okay, so on top of being able to move the path around, if you go over, let's say we'll click on the first one here. If I want to add an ease in, so motion tweens have a simpler properties panel because it only gives you the option to ease in, orient to path, and then rotate some of this. It doesn't look as crazy as the classic tween, but if you hover over here, it's kind of like a sliding option. You can slide all the way, let's say to the left where it's like -100. So it's easing in, and you'll see that the amount of points here changes. So it's going to start off slow, so these are all your in-between frames, and then the spacing starts to increase towards the end. If I were to take this and add 100 ease out, it's going to start off fast, and then it's going to slow down at the end. So now all of our dots are towards the end instead of the beginning. So let's see what that looks like when we play that back. So you saw that it starts off slow and then it speeds up. Now we're going to do an ease out. So it starts off fast and then it slows down here. Hence all these little dots here. Okay, on top of that, you can make it rotate, and you'll tell it clockwise, counterclockwise. The amount and then the angle, that one's different from the classic tween. Okay, I've never actually played with the angle before because this is new. Let's say 90. It's just like how it's going to end. Yeah. So that is it for classic tweens, the process of adding them, customizing them, adding ease in and ease out. What I want you to do is think about the emotion, or the emoji that you picked. Once you feel comfortable making your first one, I'm going to add a new layer and call this my second emoji. Oh, my bad, you can't add numbers, so I just changed it to emoji. And I'm going to delete this one. If you want to use the same emoji, you can actually go to your library panel over here, and then you can drag and drop it again. If you wanted to add another one, just remember it has to have its own separate layer. But what I wanted to say is, I want you to animate this using motion tweens, but really think about the emotion that you picked. So if it's excited, obviously it can be bouncing off the walls, moving quickly. If it's a tired emoji, when you're tired, you tend to move a lot slower. So your animation, the path it's moving, the speed that it's moving on, should be reinforcing said emoji that you chose. And once again, I can't stress this enough, if you're going to add a second emoji, make sure that it has its own layer. Everything should always have its own layer. So I'll do tired. And I can rename this as tired. And I can import it there. Okay. If you wanted to add, oops, it didn't apply it to the right one. Forget it makes these empty random layers because it's really trying to help you keep them separate. If you wanted to do a background, make sure that it's in the way back. And something to note is that these emojis don't actually have a fill color, so we're going to see right through them. If you wanted to customize them, you'd need to go into their editing mode, and I'll get into that at another time. But you can totally keep the background white. That way you don't struggle with anything. Once you're done animating with motion tweens, you're going to do File, Export Animated GIF, save it, call this motion tween, and then don't forget to do your own, the initial file save as, right? So motion tween FLA in case you want to go back and change anything. But you're uploading your final GIF to the discussion question. Remember, you have to scroll all the way to the bottom, click on the add comment box. You have to add something in the text box for it to let you post, but you'll hit File, you'll look for your GIF file, and then that's what you'll upload here, and you'll hit post. Okay, let me know if you guys have any questions.